Well, this is truly an honor.
Oh.
I mean, Freddie Jackson here.
Wow.
Mr. Poise, Mr. Elegance. Handsome guy, good dresser, everything I'm not.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, were you always this way? I mean, when did you first start taking on this kind of...
Well, I guess it's been an ongoing situation for me. I've always liked to look nice. I always like to smell nice as well. I like dining at fine restaurants and drinking the finest champagnes and wines, and going out with the finest women that there possibly are. Okay. I like fine things. I like nice things. I'm partial to nice things. I spend most of my money in clothes. I love clothes. That's my biggest fetish that I have is, in that. So I pretty much say that I've always been this way. When I was working a full-time job in New York City, just working in the bank, I was making maybe $100 and some odd a week, so I would always go to the store that had the most expensive stuff, and still try to get that. So I've always been this way,
But when you were like a little kid, what would you say? I don't want Special K, I want Captain Crunch.
yeah, I don't need that, I want the new cereal that's out, Cheerios, that's old. No, I didn't go out and play ball in silk, but I did, as opposed to wearing skips, I had Pearl kids.
I just want to know a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born and raised in Harlem, in New York City, which was a community it was struggle, and it was a community of love as well. Of course, a lot of great things have come out of Harlem. Myself right now, I can say.
But you're just being humble.
Yeah, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I was brought up in the area where the Apollo was. I grew up 4 blocks away from the Apollo, so I was at the Apollo every Saturday watching 3 shows a day. So I've seen some of the greatest: Aretha Franklin, Marvin Gaye, the Supremes, the Jackson 5 when Mike was just little, and had the real nose. Yeah. So as a matter of fact, I met Michael in London just a few weeks ago, and we talked about the same thing. So Harlem to me was a place that has brought Freddie Jackson where he is now, because I know what it is to have, I know what it is not to have, and I'm able to appreciate and accept what is happening to me today.
When did you know that you would become the success that you had?
I guess it took a little time, because when this first happened, I didn't know exactly what it meant or what was going on. I knew I wanted to make an album because my other friends were making albums, and I felt that I had as much talent as they had. When the album went gold and records went #1, then I began to believe, well, this is real, this is happening here. But I believe that when I began to really know that I had the talent to sing, I think is when I really stepped out on my own, and I joined a group called Mystic Merlin. And I went out to LA and recorded with this group, and at that point it made me feel that I can do this, because I was working a full-time job and I quit the job, and that's a big step to take when you know that you have security and you know that you have money coming your way. So to make a move like that, I had to be very sure of what I was doing. So at that point, and maybe I think it was 81 is when I began to really believe that I had something to offer.
You were with Hash from the very beginning.
I'm sorry?
You were with Hash Productions from the very beginning.
Hush Productions. No, I joined Hush Productions. I became involved with Hush Productions, I think in 82 or something like that. I was singing at a club called Freddie's in New York City, and Melba Moore saw me singing there. She was very excited about me, and she is a great part of Hush Productions. Hush Productions is for artists, I think it was built for artists who could not make it through a lot of doors for different companies. So it was when I first heard about Hush Productions, one of my friends I said, why don't you try to go over there? I hear Melba Moore, she's interested in finding new people. And I'm like, I never get through those doors there, and which a lot of people probably think today. It's like, oh God, I'll never get through Hush Productions doors. But it was at that time, and she saw me, and I came to Hush maybe a week after that, and I sang live in an office, and they liked me, and they liked my personality, and I went on the road singing background for Melba for maybe 2 years, as well as writing for her and other various artists, Evelyn King, Lilo Thomas, people who were getting music from that stable, the Hush Production stable. So Hush has been very good for me and to me, and I've been very good for Hush and to Hush as well, and we work very good, with each other.
Mm-hmm. Do you intend on doing the same thing with the people who back you up, bringing new talent to the forefront and kind of?
Yes, I would. As a matter of fact,
I heard one of your backup singers has, I guess, a solo record out.
Well, Audrey Wheeler,
Right.
It could be Audrey Wheeler. Well, there's a few of my musicians who come from a lot of. I have 2 musicians who was in the group Change, which I'm sure was very big. I think was happening here in Japan and in London as well. Audrey is very talented. I have another background singer, Miss Yogi Lee, and Sandra St. Victor. All of these young ladies. Sandra sang with Shaka, Yogi sang with Joe Cocker. So these are all talented musicians, and all this talent together, meshing together as one, has got to be something that I'm sure a lot of people want to get their hands into, and they've been trying, but I won't let them take them.
Which songs mean the most to you when you perform them live now?
I guess the songs that mean the most to me right now would be Rock Me Tonight for Old Time's Sake, because the song, the way it happened, Paul Lawrence, who produced the song, he called me up and just let me hear the hook, Rock Me Tonight for Old Time's Sake, and I liked what it was saying. And it just came. It wasn't complete. It wasn't done. And it's the song that put me on the map. The world heard me through that song, and it hit and it touched the masses. Some people hear it and they salute like they're saluting the flag, It's an anthem. And I'll never forget Rock Me Tonight, because it did something for me that I wasn't even aware could be done.
Mm-hmm. Do a lot of couples come to your shows, like everywhere in the world? Yeah,
a lot of couples come to the shows. They sit and they embrace each other and they kiss. Some couples are like really, One guy, I remember seeing one guy, his tongue was down this lady's throat, So it can get very risque. But on the whole, there's a lot of ladies, there's a lot of females that come to the show alone, and they sit in the front row and they cry and they look like they're very excited and they know what I'm.
You are getting phone numbers, I hope.
I can't deal with all of that. I mean, I want to stay in this business. I want to have money, and I think in order to date and do all of this stuff, it costs a little money. They just don't want Freddie Jackson to make love with me. They want Freddie Jackson to buy them some clothes too. But I do my share of community service.
Whatever that's supposed to mean. Well, what do you do with your free hours? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I'm a very quiet type of person. I like my freedom. I like my solitude. I just purchased an estate, 17 acres of land, 2 horses. And
where's that?
It's in the Poconos, on the outskirts of Pennsylvania. It's like an hour and a half from the city, from New York City, in which I live. And I spend a lot of time there to just relax and to come down from the neon lights and the hoopla and the screaming and the yelling and the pulling and the whole bit. So I spend a lot of time there, and I enjoy that. So I'm an outgoing person. Every now and then I like to go and I like to be in the limelight and I like to dance and have a good time. But on the whole, I like to spend a lot of time just alone.
Are you a music person? Do you spend a lot of time listening to records?
I listen to a lot of different music. I listen to a lot of artists, pop artists, R&B, some country. It really doesn't make some gospel. It doesn't make a difference, just as long as it sounds right. As long as there's a melody and a hook to it, I can enjoy it.
I hear you have a radio program in New York.
I have a radio program.
Is
no.
that false information? That's not
No, I don't. Maybe there's another Freddie Jackson. But no, I don't have a radio program.
Okay, that's
no,
a bum
no.
stew.
I get played a lot on the radio. You understand? So maybe that's what they might say.
Well,
They might think it's mine, you know. Right. Hal Jackson. Hal Jackson has a radio station, but not Freddie Jackson, and we're not related. There's so many
You
Jacksons.
met one Jackson, you met them all. That's what I say.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Do you have any like favorite